we are talking of a world in which was dominated by Hellenistic Greek thought.
Yep.
I mean, we talked about Decapolis. I mean, it's 10 cities. They were Greek. But what is described here wouldn't be out of place in this book, the Iliad.
No, not at all.
It talks about the spirit world. Well, these happen to be Greek gods and goddesses, but for the Greeks, that was the spirit world. And they were interplaying all the time, and they would be interacting. And I get the feeling sometimes that's misunderstood. Some Christians seem to clam up when you say the spirit world.
Yeah, and I guess that's because they see the spirit world as being evil. And I would say that there is dark, there is light in the spirit world, in the same as there is in the natural world. And I don't necessarily think it's all evil. I guess as we sort of track towards the end of this section, we'll get to that sort of finale of this exorcism. The whole setting of this within the Greek world, within the polytheistic world, and you've got to remember, demons were the gods in Greek.
Foreign gods for the Jews, yeah absolutely.
But the demons were the
They
gods.
were seen as foreign gods.
The emperor who killed Polycarp, he said, you've got to worship our demons, gods. And he said, no, I'm not doing that. I'm not worshipping your demons. That was the term that was used.
Go on to 25. Yeah. This is the third set of words as attributed to Jesus in the Gospels. In the Bible, it's the second Gospel, but it's the first written. And Jesus rebuked him, saying, hold thy peace and come out of him. There's two things here. He's almost doing what you're supposed to do as a good parent. Don't blame the child, blame the behaviour. And he's talking separately to this extra force from the person who supposedly has this unclean spirit, which I appreciate. But also,
Arnold Fruchtenbaum,
he raises the interesting point, and the no doubt valid point, that Jesus did not want his fame being spread by an unclean spirit, which is why he may have said, hold thy peace. What do you think?
Yes, I think that's one way of looking at it. What did he rebuke him of? And you go back to verse 24, he says, I know who you are, the Holy One of God. So Jesus rebuked him for saying that. So Arnold Fruchtenbaum would be right. Yeah, of course, he didn't want a unclean spirit making that pronouncement. But also, I think, when you actually look at that word rebuked, it's a Greek word that comes from phimos, which means he muzzled him. He silenced him.
Why?
Because it wasn't Jesus's time. Jesus later says to Peter, who do people say that I am? And some say, oh, you're Elijah, you're John the Baptist, come back from the dead, you're this, you're that. And Jesus says, who do you say that I am? He says, you're the Son of the living God, you're Messiah. And Jesus says, yep, that's me. Now don't tell anyone. Because his time hadn't come. It's the silencing of him that stops him speaking, stops him making a proclamation that is out of time.